Today I'm going to show you the best jars for overnight oats. I love overnight oats and I have a ton of overnight oat recipes on this channel, and there's always comments below the video asking me what size jars do you have, which ones work best. So today I'm going to show them to you, the ones I have in my kitchen, and I'll link all of them below this video. So I found that the best jars for overnight oats are the ones that are, number one, leak proof. There are sometimes some spills do happen in the refrigerator, and so you want to make sure that after you make your overnight oat mixture, it is leak proof, so nothing can go wrong in there. Number two, you want to make sure that your jar is microwave safe. Now, I personally eat my overnight oats mostly cold, but sometimes in winter, I do want to warm them up in the microwave for about a minute or so. So you want to make sure that the jar is indeed microwave safe. Now, another bonus is if your jar has a wider opening so you can get in there with your spoon, especially if you're adding a lot of toppings or add-ins like I have in my apple pie overnight oats, or if you're adding strawberries to your oats or pineapple. I have so many recipes. So I found that a wider opening works great. But of course, in a lot of my videos, you see these canning jars, which is essentially a lot of what these are. And these are 8-ounce jars. So for individual serving sizes, in most overnight oat recipes out on the internet for single serve, 8-ounce jars work great. I personally love these jam jars, so I reuse these all the time. They're a little bit bigger than 8 ounces, but they work great. They also have a lid and they're spill proof as well. They do heat up in the microwave, so I don't highly recommend this for heating up your oats, but to make overnight oats, it works great. I also have a yogurt maker, so I use my yogurt jars to make overnight oats. They are a little bit smaller, so it is a little tighter fit, but you can also use these. They're round, they're small, they're lidded, and they are leak proof. Now, overnight oat jars come in a lot of shapes. Some are round, some are shorter and wider, as you can see. And you can also use these freezer jars, which I use on smoothies often. I like to make a big batch of smoothies and use these to freeze my smoothies and then put them in a school lunch. And I'll show you how I do that in a video below. But you can also use these for overnight oats. And yes, you could even freeze your oats. Now, a word of caution on freezing oats, the texture does change. So if you're gonna heat up your oats, it's really not a big deal, but you can keep them in the freezer up to 3 months. I personally don't freeze my oats because I only make enough for like a couple of days and I'm good to go. I do have an entire video showing you step by step the best process to make overnight oats, and I'm gonna make sure that I link that below for you. But a lot of you guys just wanna know how long they last in the fridge. Well, if you're adding berries or fresh fruit, about 2 days max. After that, they tend to kind of break down a little. But if you're just using your oats, yogurt, or oats in liquid, I could guarantee you like 3 or 4 days. Perfect. Now, in my video, I also cover the best types of oats to use for your overnight oats. The quick or instant oats are not recommended, so make sure to check that out. Now, there are tons of recipes out there with yogurt, no yogurt, with protein, fruit, no fruit. So the oats to liquid ratio, it's also really important. That's why it's great to measure and to follow a recipe, and I'll link those for you below. But generally speaking, if you're using old-fashioned oats, you're gonna use half a cup of old-fashioned oats plus 3/4 of a cup of liquid, whether it's almond milk, traditional milk, some yogurt, a mix of both. Again, recipes, directions all below the video. Now, if you don't have any of these small individual 8-ounce jars at home, you can always use a bigger container, but remember below the video, I'm gonna share with you all the links where you can find all of these jars that I shared with you, as well as your major retailers and online. It's easy to find, just make sure you look for 8-ounce jars. Now, if you want to make oats right now, with one of the recipes below, grab a large 32-ounce or larger container so you can put all of the ingredients from that recipe in a single lidded container, wait for it overnight, and then you have a delicious breakfast that's good to go. Make sure to check the links right below this video, as well as hit that red subscribe button so you and I get to cook together a few times a week. See you next time.